Samus Aran, the Space Pirates, Ridley. All of it seemed to be a distant memory. And then it happened. How could one number generate so much excitement? I'll tell you why. It's because when Metroid Prime 4 was announced, it had been 10 years since Metroid Prime 3. And along with this newly announced Metroid Prime came a remake of Metroid 2 with Samus Returns. Nintendo was taking the franchise back to its roots, and that's not all. Nintendo would follow up Metroid Samus Returns with the first brand new 2D Metroid game in roughly 19 years, with Metroid Dread. It's clear that after a long period of silence, Nintendo was finally ready to bring Samus and the Metroid franchise back into the spotlight. Now, every Metroid fan was obviously a little bummed when Metroid Prime 4 was restarted back in 2019, but Nintendo did give us some good news, and that's the fact that Retro Studios was taking over the development. And by Nintendo doing this one thing, they showed the entire Metroid community that they do in fact care about this game's success. That's what I want to focus on today. What is Nintendo's plan for Metroid Prime 4? It's not like your Mario or Zelda titles that sell 20 million plus copies. Metroid has a history of selling very low. Metroid Prime 1 only sold 2.86 million copies, while Prime 2 sold 1.1 million copies, and Prime 3 sold 1.31 million copies. So you see, Metroid doesn't exactly have a history of selling very high, and it would be really easy for Nintendo to just say, obviously this isn't selling well, let's just not make any more games. But they didn't. In fact, they continued. As I said earlier, Metroid Dread was announced and released in 2021, and according to the game's director, this was a project 19 years in the making. The game was cancelled quite a few times before finally seeing the grand return, with Mercury Steam hired as the main developer after their success with Metroid Samus Returns. When Dread was announced, Sakamoto made a very interesting remark, saying that because the vision could not be realized, they cancelled development. And when he made this one remark, it took me all the way back to what Shinya Takahashi said in the Prime 4 development update. He said that because the game didn't reach the standards they were seeking in a new Metroid Prime title, they restarted development from the beginning. Dread took 19 years to be fully realized and completed, and when it released, it was not only a good video game, but a good Metroid game. And I think that is what Nintendo is striving for with Metroid Prime 4. Looking at Dread's situation, I think Metroid Prime 4 was put in a very similar position. The vision that Nintendo had for this game couldn't be realized with whoever was making the game at the time, so they gave it back to Retro. Now hopefully we're not waiting another 19 years, but when the game releases it will be just as good if not better than the last 3 Prime games. Nintendo did make this promise at the end of their development update. Shinya Takahashi said that when this game is finished, it will stand shoulder to shoulder with the past 3 Metroid Prime games, all of which are amazing. If this game truly does well, could you imagine what Nintendo could do next? What if this game sparks a new trilogy? What if we get Metroid Prime 5 or Metroid Prime 6? I think it all comes down to how well this game does, and I think Nintendo understands how much is riding on this. I think they want to raise Metroid to a higher level than it's been in the past, and to do that, I think they are pulling out all the stops, so that when we finally see and ultimately play this game, we will agree that this game is worthy of standing alongside the games that came before it. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think Nintendo is planning for Metroid Prime 4? Comment below and let me know. And if you're new here and you enjoyed the content for today, please be sure to subscribe. I love discussing all things Nintendo and would love for you to be a part of the conversation. Thanks again for watching, and until the next video, take care.